Dress for success and get well, Grandy. Two mottos today. Welcome to another installment of Hawkeye's Weekly Sports Review. Y'all know me, Dan the Man, Jack the Hack. I'm kidding, we love Jack. I'm not even going to say it about you-know-who. Actually, we could do a report on him today. He injured his hand. I don't know how. Got a lot to cover today, more than just hockey picks. We got Brady's new contract extension. Alex Smith got traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, which I called the second I knew that Andy Reid, that's his name. Andy Reid would be their new head coach. I'm talking too fast for my own good.
And we should get into that in, the football videos.
Yeah. Hey, it's headlines. Everybody likes to know headlines, right? Right? Am I right? Right? Yeah, you know I'm right. Let's get to our hockey picks. Go first. We got 4 games. We got the Canadiens and the Maple Leafs, the Caps and the Flyers, the Sens and the Bruins, and the Red Wings and the Kings. Let's start off with the Habs and the Leafs. Now, this is a game that always proves to be a really good matchup, primarily because it's a ancient rivalry, and the last game that they played, there was a line draw. The things that stick out to me in this game is for the Habs, they have goaltending. Carey Price is playing amazing this season. They're sitting atop the Eastern Conference with 27 points. However, the Maple Leafs are a very strong physical team this season, so I think that that's going to play in their favor against the Canadiens. But they just recently acquired Michael Ryder of the Bruins Stanley Cup team, so I think that's going to do really well for him, especially in this division. Ryder had field days in this Northeast division. So, short and sweet on this one. Normally, I'd pick the Canadiens in this game, but since the Maple Leafs are at home, I'm going to go with Toronto. Dan, what do you say?
Well, this is a great rivalry. They have been going at it recently in fights, but I'm out of practice in this. So I do like both of these teams. Both of them have their good points. Both of them have their bad points. I have picked the Canadiens for both of my picks. I'm going to pick them again. Because, well, even though I'm a Bruins fan, I like the Canadiens. There, I said it. Okay, Carl's going to kill me. How about you, Jack?
I might kill you.
Alright, Canadiens and Maple Leafs. Now, this is a very even matchup, I think. But thanks to Carey Price and the goaltending, and that's why they're sitting on top of the division, I'm going to go with the Canadiens. And now we're going to do Caps Flyers.
Alright, Caps Flyers. Now, I know, was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, since we didn't do a review last week because we had a vacation this past week.
We couldn't figure out a place to go.
Yeah, pardon our
Brains.
Yeah, pardon. I know yeah, that too. Yeah. What she said. That's what she said. In our last video, I did say that the Flyers are a stupid hockey team, and I still stand by that statement, especially now because their goalie, Ilya Bryzgalov recently got himself a Star Wars goalie helmet. Does that tie in with the theme of Philadelphia Flyers?
I don't know.
It's Star Wars, Dan. Come on. Why would I ask you? You just said that you like the Canadiens. Anyway, the Caps, they got off to a really bad start this season, but they're recently heating up. I shouldn't say at the right time because this year that would be at the start of the season, considering it's a shortened season and whatnot. The way they're playing, the way the whole Northeast Division and the whole Eastern Conference is playing, it's a no-brainer for this game. But in terms of the whole season, I think for Washington, it's gone. But I am going to take the Caps in this game, primarily because Washington is starting to heat up right now, especially since Ovi got that hat trick recently, and I think that kind of was a wake-up call because last year he whined and something else with a B that ends with itched and moaned at Dale Hunter. Oh, I didn't score enough goals. You know what? You scored 38 goals. Shut up. Dan.
Well, the Caps are one of those teams. Every year has them across all sports. They have a lot of good players on their roster, but for some reason, they just can't get it together and they can't win. But those teams always seem to, at one point in the season, just heat up and go on a run. While I think that's too late for the Capitals, because in my opinion, they'd have to go on a huge run for the rest of the season. I mean, they've played 20 games in a 48-game season, and they've lost more than they've won. Meanwhile, the Flyers, though, as we've said before many times, they're a very stupid team. No getting around that. So right now, as of this week, I'd have to go Washington. Jack?
I'm going to round up this pick, just saying it right now. I'm just going to pick Washington because the Flyers just haven't been able to get it done as a hockey team. Too, you said they're a stupid hockey team. And the Capitals, off to a slow start, are heating up right now, so that's why I'm picking Washington.
Thank you. Next game we got here, Red Wings and the Kings. The Red Wings have been on a hot streak lately. Datsuk started to heat up. Jimmy Howard's playing amazing goaltending, which is really playing in their favor. Like I said, again, a couple of weeks ago, I do feel as though the Red Wings' Jimmy Howard is kind of like one of the unsung heroes of the goalie universe. I feel like he really kind of doesn't get the props that he deserves for all the hard work that he puts into the game. And I think a lot of teams and coaches and owners and GMs kind of forget about him when they throw big-name goalies into the mix for who's best and who's not.
The thing is, when there's somebody good like that, but they have really good players like Datsuk or Zetterberg on their team, they kind of get overshadowed by their teammates. Even if they don't play the same position.
Well, look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. You got Crosby and Gino, and you always hear Fleury's name.
Yeah, but
you got the Bruins and Tyler Seguin and Patrice Bergeron. That whole first line, Bergeron, Marchand, and Seguin, and you always hear Rask's name. You know what I would have loved to see last night is Tim Thomas start for the Islanders.
Who?
The Kings, though, they're I feel like they had a kind of a Stanley Cup hangover this season, so I'm gonna go with the Red Wings. And that political joke, I apologize for that. That was wrong of me.
There's your quota for the week.
Yep, there it is. One for the week.
The first step is admitting.
Yep, that's always the first step, admitting you are wrong.
Okay. So this is going to be an interesting game, I think, because both teams are really good teams. And like I said last week, if Zetterberg, Datsuk, and Howard are playing to their potential all at the same time, and the rest of the team is playing, at least average play, then they're going to be one of the best teams in the entire NHL and will make a run. Meanwhile, the Kings have one of the best goalies. They have Jonathan Quick. He's one of the most elite goalies in the entire NHL, but I don't think it's going to be enough to stop Datsuk and Zetterberg, and I don't think enough goals are going to get past Howard to let the Kings win. So I'm going to go Red Wings on this one. How about you, Jack?
I'm gonna go Kings on this one because the defending Stanley Cup champions, they have Jonathan Quick, as you mentioned, and they have Anze Kopitar. And also, I'm gonna predict that the three best players for the Red Wings, Zetterberg, Datsuk, and Howard, are gonna have off nights that night. So that's why I'm gonna pick the Kings.
Coming from a different side now. Now, I'm just going to say one thing. Well, I'm actually going to ask one thing. Jack, do you remember what happened last time you picked against me and Dan?
I lost.
You lost the Super Bowl.
I was trying to remember what you were talking about.
I'll peg you with that for the rest of our lives, my friend.
So it's the first time for everything.
But there's never a last time for pegging Jack for picking against Dan and myself. Did you win last week? 2 weeks ago?
I've won all 3 weeks.
I hate you. I'm kidding. He's good at what he does.
You've almost beat me the second week, but it was a tie. I count that towards my streak.
just give us each a win. Scratch one more for you and just scratch one for me to begin with. All right, this is the game that I feel is the game of the week. Sens at the Bruins. Now, I feel this is game of the week because it'll be a goaltending battle. You got Big Ben and Bishop, Big Ben Bishop, for the Senators. After Craig Anderson goes down, he plays phenomenal goaltending. Bishop scares me not only at the fact that he's almost 3 feet higher than the crossbar of the net. He makes himself look big when he's in the crease, and that really plays in favor of the Senators because last season and the season before, whenever the Bruins played the Senators, we had a habit of making them look horrible. And I don't know who I want starting this game for the Bruins because last season, at the very end of the season, it was the last game that the Bruins had played against the Senators. Do you guys remember Khudobin started that game? He stopped like 45 shots. He stopped 45 shots against a talent-laden Senators team. Granted, Erik Karlsson is out. We'll go into a little bit of depth with that in a moment. The Bruins have everything going for them right now. They got goaltending. They're getting production out of all 4 lines. What are you doing back there?
Just do your thing.
Okay.
That
The Bruins are getting 4th line efficiency, 3rd line efficiency. Krejci is playing an amazing game. I wonder how he's not first line material, but there's Patrice Bergeron, so that, I mean, yeah, you can make an argument there, but it is what it is. I don't even know what to do, but I'm going to pick the Bruins. You never bet against the home team. I'm kidding. Don't abide by that. Don't do it. Especially if your quarterback's last name is Butt Fumble.
What?
What?
Mark Sanchez, the Butt Fumble.
Oh, yeah. Still laughing at that. Okay. Back on track. So, as most of you probably know by now, Senators just lost Erik Karlsson, the other week. Huge loss for them. He was like the best on their team in like every category. So they definitely have a much weaker team right now. I'm not saying they're weak, but they're definitely not as strong. And the Bruins have been consistently good all season. They've played, 16 games and won 12 of them with only 2 losses. So they've been playing really good hockey the entire season so far. And there's nobody really in their conference that challenges them too much, except for maybe the Canadiens. And, I don't think the Senators are going to be able to really take them down without Karlsson. I mean, I saw a stat last week when I was watching a Bruins game, of course, and about, Chara. Out of all the active defenders in the entire NHL, he has, 1,000 more hits than all of them. So, well, maybe not 1,000, probably more like 100. I'm remembering things wrong. So, yeah, I'm going to go Boston on this one. How about you, Jack?
I think this is a game I want Rask starting. He can start the whole stand and then let Doby finish it out.
Yeah, it's a good move. Like I said, the Senators just lost their Norris Trophy winning defenseman Erik Karlsson, who split his Achilles. And to me, the Senators don't look that scary without him. And the Bruins, having only playing 16 games and won 12 of them, they're on a hot streak, so I'm going to pick the Bruins.
we have no more picks left, but I think regardless the amount of games that they've played, I mean, the Ducks have only played one more than the Bruins have.
What was their record?
I looked at it like 5 minutes
Exactly.
ago. Damn it. Find it on NHL. So, please, Mr. Mike Trout, sir. So, well, Dan the baseball man's looking that up. We mentioned Erik Karlsson split his Achilles in a game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And Brian Murray, the GM of the Senators, I think that's his name, I could be wrong. The GM of the Senators, who was it that split Erik Karlsson's
Matt
Achilles?
Cook.
Matt Cook. He ripped Matt Cook for that, which I think is wrong. I mean, it'd be clearly evident if he tried to sever Erik Karlsson's Achilles.
It's just because of his history as being a dirty player.
Well, that's not the point. I mean, you can make an argument for that, but
Yeah, if you watch the clip, which I've seen a bunch of times just by watching NHL Network, because they kept on showing it over and over again, which
just
is
like they've kept on showing Gino's concussion.
painful to watch. But yeah, like he was really doing just a regular block. He wasn't doing anything dirty there. It was just a regular block. You see it like hundreds of times. You see it multiple times a game, that type of block. And his skate he kind of had his foot in the wrong position. It was an honest mistake. Just because of his history, you can't blame him for it. I mean, if you actually go back and watch the clip, it was not his fault. Well, it wasn't intentional, I mean.
I remember Dan actually saw that before I did. He messaged me while we were, he was in the middle of writing an article for the page. He asked me if I could do a write-up about Erik Karlsson severing his Achilles. So I said, sure, why the hell not? And I remember watching it, I was like, that's just one of those freak things. I mean, you don't expect that to happen. Like, Clint Malarchuk, that was a freak thing. Zdeno Chara checking Pacioretty into the stanchion, that was a freak thing. Chara's a big boy. Pacioretty, every player in the NHL besides like Hal Gill and Ben Bishop, compared to Chara, is like a small child. And you can't expect Chara to know where he is on the ice every waking moment, especially when he's going for the puck in Montreal after Pacioretty, because he's a very poised, he's a quick skater, and you gotta be on that guy. You always gotta cover that guy tight. You can't give him a breakaway like he would have gotten if Chara didn't check him. But that's that. I don't like how they boo him every time he gets the puck. Look, Montreal, if you did it to us, all right, I'm going to be straight up. If you did it to us, we'd boo you too, but all Bostonians are like that. So that wraps up hockey. On to, what do you want? Football or the World Baseball Classic? Dan wants to pick the World Baseball Classic. I think he's crazy, and I love it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it will actually, those are kind of important games, I guess.
Yeah. All right. On to baseball.
Yep.